there are adult themes in this episode, and it may not be appropriate for all for children or for all audiences. Hamas is not a euphemism; it's a very explicit term. So, if you're not comfortable with that, consider this a warning, and you might want to skip this episode. So, there's a bunch of verses that talk about being saved from Hamas. And one of those is 2 Samuel 22:3. He says, God, the God of my rock in whom I will find refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my fortress and the place of my fleeing, my Savior, save me from Hamas. That's what he says. That's his David. And this is also in Psalm, the 2 Samuel 22 is in Psalm 18. This specific phrase is not in Psalm 18, interestingly. But then it's repeated in 2 Samuel 22:49, which is in Psalm 18:49, where he says, save me from the man of Hamas. Ish Hamasim, a man of Hamases. Right, it's plural there, but it's an abstract concept. From a man of violence and deception and rape and pillaging. Save me from that man, from the man of Hamas. Psalm 72:12-14. Go to Psalm 140 while I'm reading this. Psalm 72:12-14. He says there, Mitochu michamas yig'al nafsham, which means something like, may their souls be redeemed from deception and Hamas. Right? So it's asking for redemption from salvation, from protection from Hamas. Hamas both as violence in some verses and here as deception. Psalm 142, can you read verses 2-5?
140, 2-5. Mm-hmm. Rescue me, O Yehovah, from evil men. Save me from, is this Hamas? Save me from the lawless. Save me from Hamas, whose minds are full of evil schemes, who plot war every day. That sounds a lot like what Genesis says about, that sounds a lot like what we just read about Noah. In the day of Noah.
Oh, that the world was, people were full of evil all day long. Their thoughts, their devices, their plans. Yeah.
They sharpen their tongues like serpents. Spiders' poison is on their lips. O Yehovah, keep me out of the clutches of the wicked. Save me from Hamas, from lawless men, who scheme to make me fall.
Can I throw something out here which is completely spontaneous here because we didn't talk about this before, but I noticed in verses 2 and 5 has the same phrase. Me ish Hamasim tinsereni, which is literally it's guard me from a man of Hamas or of Hamas's, from a Hamas person is really what it means. I'm just thinking out loud here. It's interesting that the word for guard me, the normal word for guard me appears at the beginning of verse 5. It's shamar, shomreni. But in this phrase, it's a different word. It's natsar. Natsar. So Nun sadi resh. It's the same root as the word Nazareth or Nazarene. So you could, if you wanted to, you guys out there, I'm not going to translate it this way, but if you wanted to, I guess you could translate this, Nazarene me from a man of Hamas.
Wow.
Just a thought, I don't know. Forget I said anything. Okay, move on. Just move on really quickly. Move along, sir, move along.
You're a lot deeper. You're a lot deeper than most of us, I'm just saying. So there you go.
All right. Okay, so there's a bunch of verses. Habakkuk 1:2, I call out Hamas and you do not save. Maybe we should read that. Habakkuk in the first chapter has the word Hamas a number of times, and we've brought a bunch of different verses in different contexts. Maybe read, the first number of verses of Habakkuk. How many times have you guys heard, a serious question to put an answer in the notes, how many sermons have you heard in synagogue or church on Habakkuk?
Not a lot.
No, I mean, maybe they have. Let's ask.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If you have, put it in the comments. I'm interested.
Or if you haven't put it in the comments, I'm genuinely interested.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, and it's a small book, maybe, and there's other books that maybe are more interesting to most people. But, so yeah, it's an interesting question. So it appears 5 times between verses 1 through, it's verses 2, 3, and 9, I think all of which we quoted. so far. And then it's in 2, 8, and 17. So let's read 1 through 9, or 2 through 9, just because it's a beautiful
2,
prayer.
8? Okay,
2,
2,
9.
8, and 17 you said. Okay, I
what did I
see.
say?
Yeah, we should do those two because they're good.
Let's
How
read-
long, O Yehovah, shall I cry out and you not listen? Shall I shout to you? Hamas.
Say shout to you.
Shout to you.
No, I'm supposed to say that.
Oh,
Y'all in the audience, say shout to you. So he cries out. So literally this is, I cry out, Hamas, and you do not save.
why do you make me see iniquity? Why do you look upon wrong? Raiding and violence are before me.
Raiding and violence, that's shod v'chamas. That word shod that we said that pillaging, they're translating there as raiding, that's not wrong. Yeah.
Strife continues and contention goes on. That is why decisions fail and justice never emerges, for the villain hedges in the just man. Therefore, judgment emerges deformed.
Keep reading.
Look among the nations, observe well, and be utterly astounded, for a work is being wrought in your days, which you would not believe if it were told. For lo, I am raising up the Chaldeans, that fierce, impetuous nation, who cross the earth's wide spaces to seize homes not their own. They are terrible, dreadful. They make their own laws and rules. Their horses are swifter than leopards and fleeter than wolves of the steppe. Their steeds gallop, their steeds come flying from afar, like vultures rushing toward food. They all come bent on rapine. The thrust of their van is forward.
For Hamas is what it says.
They amass captives like sand. We still have 100 and how many?
130 something. I don't remember the exact number. So what is this? So here's why you haven't heard a sermon in church about Habakkuk, because he's describing the Babylonian invasion that happened in 586 BCE. And a lot of people today say, I don't care about the Babylonian invasion of 586 BCE. What? Right? That happened in ancient history, right? He says, I'm raising up the Chaldeans who are going to come and kidnap people. And they did. They took the Jews captives to Babylonia. And they were captives there for 70 years. And they raped and they pillaged and they burned. They burned the temple. They took slaves, right? They're not just taking captives to relocate people to the east. They're taking people as slaves and they're killing them and they're raping them, right? Sex slaves in many cases.